What do you like about your brother Amari?
To playing around and eating some noodles and jumping around.
Okay, that's what he likes doing.
Yeah, he
And
likes eating noodles.
and who's your best friend?
Amari and Mommy.
Good job.
Welcome back to my channel. It's Ron K. Raji.
Hi.
Wow.
This is Amari. He is 5 years old. Hey, high five. Good job. Amari's going to school, but I wanted to make sure he was on video so you guys could see him. So Amari, you want to say bye? Say bye.
Bye.
Say bye.
Bye.
Good job. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ronke. I'm a beauty and lifestyle creator, but I also talk about a lot of real things. Now today is Autism Awareness Day, and I actually had my birthday vlog pre-planned to film today, and I decided, you know what? I actually have never talked about this on my channel. I've never really talked about Amari and his progress and things like that. So I decided today would be the best day to do it. So I'm just going to give a few trigger warnings. I am going to be talking about pregnancy loss. I'm going to be talking about mental health. I'm going to be talking about autism. And I also do have an Instagram group that is like a channel that I created for moms with neurodivergent children. So if you want to join that Instagram group so we can chit chat, share resources and all that, I would love to have you there. So I'm going to also let you guys know that I do have a background in psychology. I worked in the psychology field for 3 years, working with different ages of people working with children with autism, specifically children, from the ages of 8 to like 20. So I do have experience in the field. However, I do want to also use this opportunity to tell my story, and I'm sharing to let you guys know, as a Nigerian woman, there's a lot of times that we don't talk about these things enough. And I definitely am the type of person to be like, I need to be the change that I need to see, because there are a lot of mothers, especially Nigerian mothers, who are not talking about it, or they're feeling alone because nobody really understands, or there's a stigma in like bringing their child places and all those things. So I just really want to share my story and how I found out that Amari has autism, and then kind of go into different experiences I've had. My pregnancy with Amari was already extremely different because it was my first pregnancy. Amari is now 5 years old. He's about to be 6 this year, which is crazy to me. And my pregnancy, even starting out, was already something that I knew was difficult, especially being a first pregnancy. I did have a miscarriage before I had Amari, and if you know anything about miscarriages, it's like you feel consistently scared of carrying a child to term, because you're kind of like, is this gonna be like, what's gonna happen? You know, there's a lot of anxiety around that. So for me, I definitely was very anxious in Amari's pregnancy. Pregnant, you take a glucose test, and that glucose test is what lets you know if you have gestational diabetes or not. Unfortunately for me, I did have gestational diabetes, and that led me to having to be on a very strict meal plan and drinking water and everything, which honestly I feel like that's why I probably lost so much of the baby weight really quickly, because I was on a very strict meal plan for basically diabetes, and I had to prick my finger 3 times a day to monitor my blood sugar. And honestly, right before Amari was born, the meal plan had actually not worked for me, and my blood sugar just was always really high. So what ended up happening was, they literally, the day before Amari was born, they had said that they were going to put me on insulin, which meant that I was going to have to inject myself with insulin daily in my belly. So I guess Amari was like, please, I'm not having that, because literally he was supposed to be born in July and he was born in June. So I I ended up giving birth to him, and he was a month early, but thankfully he didn't have to go to NICU. He was a little cute little itty bitty baby. He was 6 pounds. Really thought that that was it, like, oh my goodness, I've had a healthy pregnancy, thank God I have a baby. But it actually got a lot more stressful. My pregnancy was very emotional. I felt very alone in some parts of it, because there were not a lot of my friends that had been through the same things that I had been through. So it was very hard for me to explain myself. And honestly, I think I really also hid a lot of my emotions because I wasn't really sure how to express myself, because so many women have been pregnant. So I just thought, you're not special. You know what I mean? Which honestly, not great thoughts. I had to weigh him all the time. He wasn't gaining weight. He wasn't latching. And I remember, thank God, I had this beautiful chat group that I will never forget, that one of my friends created, that really helped me with breastfeeding at that time. And that's why it's so important to have some type of community when you're pregnant, or when even in general as a mother, to share with other mothers so that they can give you their experience, because everybody's experience is different, but there's going to be somebody out there that has the same experience as you, that can relate and that you can learn from. Because as a mom, it's always important to always consistently keep growing and learning from experiences. Where I started really realizing that there might be a difference in Amari was when Ivana was born, because I started realizing that Ivana developed differently. Amari was always very detached, no eye contact, things like that. He's always honestly been a very relaxed child. It's just in his nature. But I started noticing, like, developmentally, it wasn't the same as Ivana. And not to compare them, because I try not to at all. But I could tell that even though Ivana wasn't really talking as well, it was just the way she responded to her name. He didn't respond to his name. So it was a little bit different at that time. So when he was around like 1 or 2 years old, I started trying to get him some services, and that's where I stumbled upon early intervention. This was all during COVID, so it was really difficult for me because I couldn't like take him physically, but they just wanted to make sure that he, had some type of, encouragement with verbalization and things like that. He would always make noises, but it was just never speech. And also he would elope all the time. Amari would literally run, just take off running. And elopement in children is not fun, especially when you have to like go to grocery stores or go places. He just really wasn't attached in that way. So, when I started realizing that, I got him a little bit of services back then, and then I moved to Baltimore from Arizona in like 2022. And when I moved back, that's when I started really trying to get him services, because a lot of the daycares that he was not in daycare for at least a year or two of his life going to daycare. That's when I started realizing that there was actually a real big need for services, because most of the daycares that he went to, they were not accepting him, or like they'll accept him for like 2 weeks and then be like, hey, like he's not sitting down, he's disrupting the other children. And as a mother, I remember back then really being very sad when he got kicked out of one of the daycares, because I knew that this wasn't something that was his fault. This is just who he is. This is what he is born with. Intrinsically, I knew, even without it being genetic, I knew that I was going to have a child with autism. So in a way, I feel like I was mentally prepared. But at the same time, nothing could have prepared me for half the things that I had to go through to even find him services. And for a while, honestly, I blamed myself as a mother, because there's always a mom guilt, like, oh, what if I had done this different during pregnancy, or what if I had done that different, or is it because this? But I had to start realizing that aside from it being genetic, it wasn't something that I could help. It wasn't my fault. And it took me a while to actually get to that point where it was like, Ronka, it's not your fault. This is your child. Work with what you have right now and love him, because he deserves love. He's my child, and I prayed for my child. Started trying to research, and also from aunts and people who are also have children with autism started talking to me and telling me these are the resources that you can get. And finally going to this school and getting a diagnosis was actually one of the hardest things I've ever been through. I don't know why it took so long, but it took me almost a year and a half to finally get a solid diagnosis, because I needed a diagnosis for me to even unlock him getting services. He was going to an elementary school that had like an autism class, which was great, but I just felt like he needed more one-on-one interaction with somebody who was going to really be there and like actually be one-on-one with him, because the class was like 4 students, and I didn't really see that much of an improvement after he had like a year of that. So I was just kind of again working on getting a proper diagnosis. They only gave me a diagnosis specifically for that school, so I had to get an actual diagnosis that I could use for most things. Finally, I was able to go through the state and get him a diagnosis that now led me to finding an autism center that he's now currently in. And when I tell you, I could tell the difference right away. First of all, there's one-on-one assistance with him all the time, and I could just tell the people there are like family. They love him. I can genuinely tell they care about him. Shout out to the Early Autism Center in case you guys are watching this. Y'all are amazing, and I appreciate you every day for what you do, because they're just amazing people, and he has made so much improvement. He no longer elopes. Now he holds my hand when we go out. Like, even if I let him go, he won't go for so long. He responds to his name. He feeds himself now. He hand over hand, I can put crayon with him. He looks at me more. He's more interactive. He randomly, like this was like 2 months ago or 3 months ago, he randomly just started talking. Like, he randomly just started saying hi to everybody. And from then, he's been saying hi, and we've been trying to like add to his vocabulary. And I'm just so grateful at the progress that he has made, because to go from nonverbal to at least communicating and like from repeating after me, because that's really the first basis of language, especially with children in general, is when they start repeating after you. So I'm just so excited to see where he goes in life. And I don't know, a lot of people ask me all the time, like, oh, what do you see for him in his future? Or do you think he's going to stay with you the whole time? I genuinely don't know. I do not know what it holds, but I do know, like, day by day, I'm working with him. Potty training right now is actually the biggest thing for me. If I can get him out of diapers by the end of this year, it would be amazing. He's also a very picky eater. I should just say that. Like, he mostly only eats like the things he really likes. It's really hard for him to like try other things, but he loves his meats. He loves fruit, which is great. And all the other things, it's a lot of force feeding, which I hate to do, but sometimes I'm like, bro, you gotta eat, you know? So there's a lot of that. Also working with him to like try to be able to put his own clothes on. He can do it, but again, this is all about consistency. And I do have another child, so Ivana does help, and I love that, but I don't want her to feel that the responsibility of taking care of him is on her. So a lot of times I try to just like let them play together without making her feel like she has to do everything for him. I haven't really been able to explain to her about autism because I don't think she can understand, but slowly I intend to introduce that to her and let her know this is why he doesn't talk, and so that she is able to like stand up for him and advocate for him the same way I advocate for him. So yeah. And also, one thing is the experiences I've had, I know that I haven't really had any really horrible experiences with him. I think that a lot of times it's just really people not understanding that he doesn't talk, and honestly, not a lot of people know about autism, even though it's way more common now. It's in children, like, I've had people like go up to him and try to speak to him and wonder why, or even other children wonder why he doesn't talk. And, it's really hard to explain. But I will never forget the one experience I had that actually made me really aware of not only how people are not that aware of autism, but also not as empathetic, because again, they just automatically are like, this is a special needs child, and like they're just very ostracizing. I'm honestly so glad that I'm not somebody who really has a lot of shame about certain things. I do feel shame sometimes, but I don't have shame in the sense that I don't care about how people perceive me or how I parent or Amari. However, there are experiences that have made me a little bit more sensitive to the fact that he has autism. And I would never forget this one time in Chuck E. Cheese's. He loves jumping in general, but like a trampoline, he loves a trampoline. Watching your kid, but your kid is also running around with the other children playing around. But annoying to me, he kept going back to that trampoline area, and they just kind of kept being like, hey, whose kid is that? Can you get him out of there? And, kind of like really forceful about it. So I ended up having to buy the special socks so that he'll just trampoline it up. And I was like, okay, cool. Danger averted. I mean, the workers were already kind of side-eyeing me and everything because they didn't understand why they would like call him or be like, hey, because with other children, they'll be like, hey, stop that. And they'll stop. But with Amari, he doesn't respond to people. So I think for them, they were probably annoyed at the fact that he wasn't responding, or like they'll try to take him out and he'll go right back. They didn't understand it. There was a worker there that was like, hey, does he have special needs? Is he autistic? And I was like, yeah, he is, which I hate autistic because that's not him. He's not autistic. He has autism. He's a child that has autism. He's not autistic. That's not his whole personality. He has other personality traits. So, I guess she could tell that I was a little annoyed, but she was trying to empathize with me. For me, I guess that was one of the days where I really realized that like people don't really understand what autism is and they see a child doing certain things and they don't understand why they don't conform to like other children. And I was really, really upset that day. And I think I was only upset because I felt like that was the first time that he had been treated different for being different. And myself, I know how it feels to be different. I've always felt as though I was different from when I was younger. Having a child that is being treated different, it stirs something up inside me that makes me feel like I have to advocate for him and I have to be there for him and I have to make sure people are not treating him like he's different, which is why I'm so glad that he's at the Autism Center now, because he's not treated different. All his friends have autism. They're all jumping around together. And, I don't know what is going to happen next year because he has to go to like big school next year. I'm still trying to figure that out. If you guys have any recommendations or like suggestions of like, how you did it, I really want to hear from tenured mothers, like moms who have children with autism that are like 10, 15, 18. I've seen a lot of moms on TikTok. Oh, I would never forget this British mom on TikTok. I can't remember what the child's name is, but every time they come up, I think I follow her. And every time they come up, I'm just so happy because it makes me see that Amari can be verbal in future. He can have a job in future. He can, do the things that I want for him to do. But honestly, as a mom, I'm just happy that he's here, and I'm just happy that he's able to be himself and, run and jump. And I get upset at him because he be doing the most sometimes, but he's a child. And sometimes I just allow him. Honestly, sometimes I even think I'm a little bit more lenient on him, which I try to work on because, at the end of the day, he has to learn certain things. But yeah, I just felt like this was a great time to share this, with it being Autism Awareness Day, and do my part as a mom that has a child with autism. And if anything in this video I said has resonated with you or you've learned something new, please let me know in the comments below. And like I said, if you're a tenured mother or a Nigerian mother, if you're somebody who does not want to comment and you just want to talk about like your struggles, because it is a struggle. Like I'm talking from years of experience. I'm talking from finally getting to a place where it's stable. It's not like that everywhere else, and there's not resources everywhere else. So I would definitely love to be a point of contact. Leave me a comment, leave me a DM. I'm really grateful for him as a child. I'm really grateful to even have a community that I can talk to about things like this. And happy Autism Awareness Day. And honestly, it is actually Autism Awareness Month. So, hey. But I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share with anybody who you feel like needs this message or even needs to hear another African woman talk about this. And I will see you in my next video. Ta-ta.